The boyhood home of Dwight D. Eisenhower provides a glimpse into the experiences and values of the family that produced the commanding general of Allied forces in World War II and the 34th President of the United States. The true foundation of the home on Southeast 4th Street in Abilene, Kansas, was built on hard work, faith, and character. David and Ida Eisenhower moved to Abilene, Kansas with their 3 sons, Arthur, Edgar, and Dwight, in 1892, when Ike was just a toddler. Their first residence was a 3-room house that barely met their needs. By 1898, the family purchased this 6-room house on Southeast 4th Street from David's brother. A larger house was needed for their growing family, which would be complete with their 7th son, Milton, born in 1899. Ida transformed this house into a home for her family, filling it with heirlooms such as a walnut secretary, a bookcase, and her prized piano, which became centerpieces of their home. The family Bible, hand-embroidered pillows, and a blanket woven by Ike's great-grandfather united the generations that reached back before the nation's independence. The front parlor, reserved for entertaining company, held bookcases filled with literature, math, and history texts. Dwight's special fascination was history. Even more than reading about historic battles, Dwight admired the character, courage, and self-sacrifice of military figures such as George Washington. Evenings were spent as a family in the back parlor. Often, Ida would play the piano or give lessons to the boys. They all took turns reading and reciting from the Bible, learning lessons in faith and humility. Dwight never forgot these lessons, and many of his later speeches asked for God's blessing on the nation. The back parlor and the kitchen, now a dining room, were the 2 busiest rooms of the home. Ida and the boys prepared meals on a stove that sat where the sideboard is today. The family gathered at a large trestle table to eat, replaced with this smaller dining table years later. With only 3 bedrooms and 8 family members, space was already at a premium when Dwight's grandfather joined the household in 1900. They built an addition to the home, with 2 bedrooms and a closet. The front bedroom was for David and Ida, while grandfather Jacob took the back bedroom. The 6 boys now spread out in the 3 upstairs rooms. Arthur, the oldest, got a room of his own, even if all that fit was a small single bed. Ida assigned the back bedroom to Edgar and Dwight, close in age and of similar personalities. The largest bedroom was shared by the younger brothers, Roy, Earl, and Milton. As with most families of the period, the Eisenhowers' days were filled with hard work. David worked 80 hours a week at the Bell Springs Creamery, while Ida managed domestic responsibilities and daily chores around the home. She raised the boys to be productive members of the family. In addition to the traditionally male chores of feeding and caring for chickens, cows, and other livestock, the boys learned how to cook, clean, sew, iron, and do laundry, all without indoor plumbing. They learned from their father how to make improvements and additions to the home. Using a correspondence course manual, they wired the home for electricity to replace the oil-burning lamps. 2 years after Grandpa Jacob's death in 1906, the boys helped convert his bedroom to the family's only indoor bathroom. This became possible when the city extended water and sewer lines to this part of town. While David and Ida's hard work supplied what was needed, the boys learned that they would have to work for what they wanted. Dwight learned how to make his mother's tamale recipe and then marketed them around town. Earnings were spent on sports equipment, such as baseball bats and gloves. While the boys had chores at home, they still found time to play. These activities, along with their formal schooling, taught them valuable lessons in teamwork, responsibility, and citizenship. However, as in any family, disagreements occurred. Sibling rivalry occasionally became physical. Although Ida and David discouraged fistfights, they did want their sons to be able to defend themselves and one another. More importantly, Ike learned about fairness and justice. When his temper got the best of him, Ida gently taught him self-discipline. Each of the boys graduated from high school and then started working or went to college. In 1911, Dwight left home for the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. There, his childhood nickname, Ike, became permanent. Growing up with 5 brothers, he easily adapted to a new brotherhood in the Army. Childhood lessons in discipline and responsibility prepared him for lessons in leadership and command on a larger scale. With fewer mouths to feed, Ida and David began adding modern conveniences to the home. Telephone service connected them to the city switchboard in 1913, and by the time Dwight graduated from West Point in 1915, a separate kitchen, pantry, and enclosed back porch had been added. Even though the structure of the house changed considerably through the years, Southeast 4th Street remained home because of the memories and family ties it represented. The boys, now grown, returned in 1926, and Ida had the reunion captured in a family photo, reminiscent of one taken in 1902. Ida remained in the home after David's death in 1942. Around this time, the boys bought a radio for her, and she heard her son, now General Eisenhower, speak from his World War II headquarters in Europe. Ida's death in 1946 marked the final transition for the home. Her sons donated it to the newly formed Eisenhower Foundation, established to build a memorial to General Dwight D. Eisenhower and all World War II veterans. The home opened for public tours in 1947. A museum building was completed in 1954, and the Presidential Library was dedicated in 1962. Following the transfer of President Eisenhower's papers to the library, the National Archives and Records Administration began administering the entire 22-acre campus. The home remains as it looked at the time of Ida's death in 1946, when Dwight Eisenhower was 56 years old. The size and conveniences changed significantly from his boyhood years, yet the lessons learned remain. Humility, responsibility, duty, and self-discipline prepared Ike to assume the challenges of leadership as the 20th century's greatest soldier-statesman. No wonder Ike chose to be buried here, lasting proof of his assertion.
The proudest thing I can claim is that I am from Abilene.